And then,
that sounds fabulous.
And then we're looking at retreats. So that's the next thing. I need to look at some retreats, but that's a bit way off yet. So
it will all come together as it needs to, really. And it sounds like it is really coming together. What would you say to someone who is looking to kind of cut down, or they're in that situation where they feel like their drinking, or even if it's gambling or anything else, really, isn't it? Is becoming a little bit too much?
I think the first thing to do, like I said, to change a habit, you've got to make a new habit. You've got to create a habit. So substitute it for something else. So, for example, the way that I overcame the drinking element, so I was so used to coming home at 5:30, that drink being ready for me. My drink now is lime and soda in a gin goblet. And, that is just so easy. And you've got to...
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you're a connoisseur and unless you really think about what you're drinking and really tasting it and being really mindful of it, that's when you get the real benefit of drinking, because you're being mindful of how it tastes, how it smells. But I can guarantee the amount of people who come home and just go, I just need a beer, and they down it. And there's no mindfulness in that. Yeah, they'll go, oh, that tasted good, because it quenched their thirst for that moment of time. I can guarantee by changing it to a lime and soda, you're just going through the motions. It's not it tastes beautiful. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the psyche. It's the little hack, because I know when I used to have a glass of wine, I go, oh, that really tastes good. And the first glass would taste wonderful. The second glass, you're kind of used to it. And I got to the point where I run out of my nice wine. All I've got left is my cooking wine, which tastes like shit. But do you know what? I still needed to go through the motion of drinking. And rather than saying, you know what, have some cordial or have some water, you'd be like, no way, I want wine. But if you can change the mindset and the mind shift as, instead of having a glass of wine, I'm going to have non-alcoholic wine, or I'm going to have
absolutely
a non-alcoholic beer, or I'm going to have a lime and soda. So you still feel as though you participate. It's like the e-cigs or whatever. When people are smoking and they want to go for something different, they'll start vaping, or they'll have...
Absolutely.
It's just that motion. And that... once you change that, so if you substitute it for something else, that's a big one. If it's something like, your exercise or your eating, buddy up with somebody. It makes it a whole lot easier when you've got an accountability group or person. Because, if you're surrounded by people who just sit in and eat shit constantly, that's what you're going to become. So if you change your surroundings, so I'm not saying get rid of your old friends, I'm saying find some new friends whose lifestyles you want to adapt to and adhere to and visualize your life being.
Absolutely.
I think that's the thing. So within Habit Breaker, we have the community, so we have got a Habit Breaker huddle where we hang out, and it's like, hey, how's your day gone? Or somebody might go, oh, really shit, I've had a glass of wine. Don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up. Don't worry about it. It's fine. You're not here to build that life of sobriety. You're here to build that healthier relationship with the unhealthy habit you've got. And if
absolutely,
that's drinking, if it is gambling, if it is food, if it is sex, don't beat yourself up. Get on the next day. Don't worry about it.
And that's the thing, because it's not about it's not about beating yourself up or anything like that as well. And and if you do want to kind of, because I tell you what, some of my go-tos as well in terms of like giving up, especially in particular giving up alcohol, is that your body is losing different types of nutrients. So there are different go-tos in terms of what nutrients are in other foods as well. Don't you think so?
Absolutely. And that's, again, within part of the habit breaker, we have smoothies. So particularly liver based. So it's like, right, okay, I need some healing. So what am I going to fill my smoothies with? So a lot of smoothies, it's spinach, it's cucumber.
Yeah, absolutely.
All these types of green foods. And that's where the nutritional element comes into the reframing process. It's not just about, hey, let's just eat a load of shit, because you've got, in wine particularly, there's so much sugar that you might then crave sugar once you've stopped your drinking. So it's finding the balance of, okay, now I stop the drinking of the wine, because that's, you don't realise there's a sugar fix in there. I realised it because I was going, okay, I don't drink anymore, but where are the biscuits? Where are the biscuits? I need a biscuit. And that was so not like me. I didn't eat chocolate. I've never really been a sweet tooth person. But oh my God, I can bypass the aisle in the alcohol aisle.
Yeah.
The pudding section, I'm like, I need pudding.
But that's because you were a sweet tooth person in the first place. It's just that the alcohol was the cover for that as well. Yeah. And it's amazing the type of stuff that you lose in your body when you're drinking alcohol that needs to be replaced. And when you replace it, that actually starts to curb your alcohol intake as well. So it's it's a really good hack that you've mentioned there.
So no, I do. Again, smoothies are the best way to start bringing in juicing as well. So those are the best ways to get my vitamins and the right nutrients. Because obviously, through alcohol, I've done so much damage. I need to start repairing and rebuilding. So it's all things that I'm doing and continue to do for myself that are being put into practice in the programs. Because if it's making me feel better, it's going to make others feel better too. And
absolutely.
I don't want to shy away from, oh, my life is all this amazing hunky-dory fantastic. I said to you before we started, I said I've had a little bit of a shit weekend. I've had a real blip, and energy-wise. And I do believe, again, it was because I wasn't protecting myself. Spiritually, I wasn't protecting myself, and I was taking on other people's energies.
Yeah.
And as soon as I started cleansing and saging the house and everything else, I woke up yesterday morning going, right, okay, I'm firing off. I didn't actually stop working until 2:00 this morning, and it's like, shit, I'll be knackered tomorrow. But no, I'm here, I'm doing this. After this, I know I've got to do my PR work, and it's, and I think that's it. It's finding the balance and also knowing your strengths. So I know I work better in an evening. So
yeah.
My strengths. Okay, I can afford not to do that. And I think that's the beauty with working for yourself. You can do your own timetable. If you're in an office, it's a little bit different. But you play to your strengths.
Absolutely.
If you're better at working or doing the creative content in your work role on an afternoon, do it on an afternoon. Do the admin stuff in a morning. And it's about finding how you work and how you function, because whilst you're filling your body and with narcotics, toxins, you're not finding this stuff out because you're just going through the motions. And once you do start to declutter the toxins and pull out the toxins, that's when you start really understanding your physique, your body, your mind, your soul, everything else. And that's where you can really put your positive energies and your traits into their best practice, into their best place. And I think that works a treat for me. I'm always happy.
But the thing is, I think you've really hit on something there, because, even when I explain like the social media switch off, people assume that you need to switch off at a weekend just because I do. I'm like, well, just because I do it doesn't mean that you need to kind of do it that way. It might be that you take the evening off. And like you said, there are times where I kind of do a little bit of work in the evening rather than doing the work in a day. And I know that it's usually just after my period that I do that kind of, that I do the evening work rather than the daytime work, because that's where I kind of work better. You can kind of like, when you start tuning into your body, and that's the thing, when you kind of give up the alcohol, when you step away from being online so much, you start to realize, okay, this is what my body wants me to do. This is where it wants me to do it. And everybody's body is different. Nobody's body is the same. However, saying that, excuse my kids in the background, saying that, I know that this weekend, a lot of people felt that kind of taking other people's energy in. Even I did on it. Even on last Thursday, I went, okay, I'm going now, because it's just getting too much for me, and I'm going to end up losing my cool, losing my shit. Usually, I'm going to end up losing my shit, and sometimes you have to take yourself away, switch all the noise off, sit down, journal, whatever you need to do. And that's the thing. It's whatever feels right for you, isn't it? So it's like you've got your own habits. Other people's habits may be slightly different, but it's whatever you need to do for you that enables you to reconnect and kind of reconvene with you. Yeah. And that's when you get the, go this way today. You need to, because that's when you're listening for a change. It's like, you need to go this way today.
There's no action. That's what there's no, do you know, if I would be an incredibly rich woman if I could break the gaming habit. Honestly, if I could crack my son, he's 22, I think. Well, I had a little mental block there. And it's been horrendous through furlough, because he's furloughed from work, so he's like still getting paid, but yeah, he just fills his time gaming, and I'm like, Oliver, it's 3:00 in the morning, you need to get off the game, honestly. And that's his distraction, that's his coping mechanism through furlough. And I can't wait for you to go back to work. And he's like, yeah, Mum, I know, I can't wait to go back to work. And I will break the habit. And he's like, but I don't know how. And I'm like, oh my God, here I am.
And that's the thing.
Breaker. Here, the habit breaker can't break her son's habit.
But that's the thing, like with our own kids, they obviously need to learn it at their own pace and at their own time and at their own speed. And I kind of, because I've got a little gamer in the living room, and he's 10 years old, but and as much as it does my head in, and it really does, as a parent, equally, they don't really want to listen to their parents. And it's not until, like, even my 17-year-old said to me the other day, she goes, "You're always right." She goes, "I just need to kind of just take some of the stuff that you're saying in, because I know that you're completely right." But I'm like, but at the same time, Safi, it's your own life. Yeah. And as much as I want to tell you what to do and control your life for you, the thing is, at the end of the day, I can't do that. I have to kind of, and as much as it pains me, I'm like,
but to let them find their feet as well. But again, going to social media disconnect.
Yeah.
So many people who spend, first thing they do is when they wake up, okay, who's online, how many notifications have I got, who sent me a message, and that's the first thing.
And that's why it's so beautiful to switch off.
And the last thing at night. So of course it's going to affect the sleep as well.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't be looking at your screens before bed. And, if you go through the programs, one of the first things that I ask is, okay, we're reframing everything. And that means I need you to not pick up your phone. If you use your phone as an alarm clock, I want you to get an alarm clock, because I want you to put your phone not somewhere out of the way, because obviously it's needed in case of an emergency. I want you to put it where you would have to get out of bed to get it, which is a bind. And I do that for one of the first things I ask them to do when they wake up is, I want you to be grateful. I want you to list 3 things what you're grateful for, and how your day, think about how positive your day is going to start and pan out. Whereas if you're in bed and you've got your phone next to you, the first thing you do, you pick up the phone and you're scrolling. You're not thinking about the art of gratitude. You're thinking about, okay, what's going on in the world? Oh, I'll just watch the news. The news is full of shit. The news is full of negativity. You know, it's how I've got through this whole COVID thing without really knowing what's going on, because I'll just dip in and out. I'm living my bubble. And my mum goes crazy with me. But you need to know what's going on. You've got to live it. You've got this. You've got that. I'm like, I will go out if I want to go out, and I'll be careful. I'm not being beholden to what everybody else is doing and the societal norms. I'll look after myself and I'll protect others, you know, but I'm not being told. I was mortified, actually. I did hear that bit when Boris Johnson said you can go to the pub. And I'm like, you're opening pubs before gyms.
Don't even get me started on the pub before gym bit, because I was just kind of like, you are absolutely kidding me. Like, the thing is, at the end of the day, and I'm really going to put it out there, right, because it really does need saying, right, opening a pub before a gym, bearing in mind, okay, if someone's going to get ill from something, and, you know, and obviously they need to have their immune system suppressed in some way, isn't alcohol the thing that suppresses the immune system in the first place? So come on, right? Let's just put it out there. If you are going to become ill, taking drugs, drinking shitloads of alcohol and binge drinking on a weekend, and doing anything like that is going to hinder you on the inside, regardless of whether you think that you are well because you don't have diabetes, regardless of whether you think that you're well because you're not asthmatic, you are going to get ill. And it would not be surprising if you got something like coronavirus. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, if we're on about suppressing the immune system, the pub is the first place to go. Sorry, I was talking about this with a nurse, and it was like one of the big things that I really wanted to kind of like, it needs putting out there. I'm sorry, I'm on a rant.
I've opened the door now for you, Trina. Come on.
Thank you.
That is exactly.
I think sometimes the universe is like just wanting me just to pipe up a little bit more. So yeah.
And I felt that exact same disbelief. It's like, oh my gosh, you're asking people to go to the pubs to support the drink industry. I get that, but oh my God. With them drinking, yes, it's going to lower their immune system. With them drinking, they're going to get absolutely pissed as fuck, start hugging everybody, start their defense mechanisms, their beer goggles come on. So therefore, who knows what goes on after copious amounts of drink.
Both.
You see an attractive guy, you go back to that. There's all that kind of connotation with it. You sleeping with strangers, honestly. And I say this because this is what I saw when I was a massive drinker in the club scene. You know, alcohol.
I was always ill.
Alcohol just totally relaxes you, and you don't think about, I'm going to go sleep with him, or he's sleeping with her. And it was just the one night stand situation is rife when you have alcohol fuel.
Yeah, but it's not just that as well. It's a physiological aspect of when you are binge drinking, because the physiological aspect is that you are more susceptible to chest problems. You are more susceptible to coughs and colds. you are more susceptible to those things that are going to make you ill in the first place, even though we don't believe it, even though it's kind of really played down. And the thing is, we never kind of like truly ever speak about it, because the thing is, at the end of the day, and we have to really put this out there as well, if you exercise, right, your lungs get stronger for a start. If you exercise and you really do push yourself, you will cough up all your phlegm. Yes. Which is then protecting you. Because if you cough up your phlegm, you're getting all your phlegm out of your body, and it's not inside your body where it can get infected and carry infections and keep them within your body. I think, I'm not going to mention who I had who was one of my clients, but it's only if that person feels like they want to say it. But one of the things that you can do to get a lot of phlegm out of your chest is to tap your chest and just get it kind of like moving and out. But exercise is actually going to do you better than, and yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that I really want to mention, since we're on the COVID stuff, is where are the psychologists? Where are the psychologists for people's mental health?
Thank you.
Instead of bringing out, Chris Whitty, right, you're doing a fab job, right, because you need to obviously tell the nation about what's going on. But there's so much information, too much information that is absolutely creating a mental state in many people, anxiety, whatever you want to call it, in many people, and there's going to be a massive fallout from this. Where are the psychologists? Where are the psychologists? Where are the people to tell people that you're okay as you are, and you're doing a great job as a human being, parent, mother, wife, etc. I'd say
it's true though.
I'm on it now.
It is the mind. The mind is a powerful thing. It's also
absolutely.
a fragile thing. And
the mind can make you ill.
The suicide rate is going
up.
And that's what you mentioned. And, the opening of the gyms is good for the mind. It's good for the mental health. And honestly, I got on, you got this rant, but it was one of those things like, what are you doing?
I know. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's almost like you sit there in like disbelief, and it's like, and then on one hand you go, and then on one hand you get in people going, well, if you exercise your lungs, and I'm like thinking, hold on, if you exercise, your lungs get stronger and you're able to cough out a lot of the phlegm that's inside you anyway. And rather than sending people back to the pubs, as much as it's like a great thing, to go and celebrate. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say this as well. It is a good thing to celebrate with your friends, right? And it is okay that you drink, right? Because I know obviously we've had a little bit of a rant. It is okay that you do drink, right? It's just to understand that what might happen to your body when you are drinking in excess. That's the thing. We're not talking about like the occasional drink, like I have a sherry at Christmas or something, or I have a glass of wine a week, or two a week. We're talking about when we get to the point of it is too much, and it's when we get to the point of I don't know how I'm going to stop this anymore, and it's when we get to the point of other people are going to you, is it getting a bit too much now? That is when something possibly needs to, you may feel like something possibly needs to change. But we do have to discuss the immune system. We do, don't we? We have to discuss if these things are coming into play, the immune system. You know what? I don't know why that came into my mind, but masks for some reason. Sorry. I can tell Christine we might be on a bit of a rant for a while.
Can I ask why it is that it's considered healthy for you to have to wear a mask on, say, a 5-hour train journey, when for that entire time you're going to be breathing in your own CO2?
Thank you. And the funniest thing that kind of comes up, which I feel will come up in the future, is COPD, and people with COPD issues, which is then going to put a massive strain on the health industry, then a massive strain on the NHS in particular. Because the thing is, when you're breathing in dust particles in particular, those dust particles are going to create, and CO2, which you mentioned, are going to create an issue with the lungs in the future. So there will be, I truly believe there's going to be a fallout from that anyway, and possibly the type of masks that are being produced and being worn as well.
Also, when you're breathing that CO2, it has an effect on your mental state as well, because you're not getting the brain that you need to promote the health in the brain to start with.
Absolutely. The thing is, you do need to get a good degree of oxygen in and out of the body anyway. So by breathing that CO2, basically you're almost like suffocating yourself. Right. So it will probably most create for the heart to actually pump faster than what it actually needs to, and put a strain on the heart, but also put a strain on your lung capacity as well, and what the lungs are capable of doing. Yeah, they're really good at regenerating themselves, but they only get like anything, like even like the liver, there comes to a certain point where the lungs can't function the way that they need to anymore. So yeah, it's a great question, and there's going to be loads of stuff that come up around this. Asthmatics for one, and in particular as well, if anyone has been through assault in any way, I've worked with clients who've been strangled. I've worked with clients who've had their mouths covered. So wearing a facial covering in particular is going to be highly, highly damaging for someone's psychology. But yet it's seen as like an awful thing, and people will be judged for it. And I really want to kind of put it out there. If anyone's watching this, on when it actually goes out, please take a moment to stop judging people for not wearing a mask. You do not know what's gone in someone's life, whether they've been violently subjected to ordeals, or if anything has actually gone on in their lives. You don't know that. And regardless of, whether passing something on, we're all human beings at the end of the day, and it just takes a good degree of kindness. And that's the thing. Kindness heals. At the end of the day, the more that we don't live in the shame and the guilt, the more that the body is able to heal itself on its own ability. We do need traditional medicine as well at the same time. Let's just kind of put that out there as well, because we need a balance of both, balance holistic and traditional as well.
It just worries me as well that they keep talking about new normal, as if this
is not normal.
And I keep saying temporary.
It's not normal.
It's going to come to the point where not walking around with a face mask is going to become socially unacceptable. You can still go to the pub and get drunk, which I think is socially unacceptable, but walking around without a face mask on, you'll be subjected to even more prejudice. And I think it's a really huge imbalance in there, and it's going to work against everyone's mental health and mental states when it comes to
I think even worse than that will be the vaccine as well. So, and I was the person who was all for vaccines and stuff. Something that's not tested as long, because obviously this is being rush tested out, so it will be available at the end of the year. And even if it's rush tested out, okay, so they have to go through 4 phases for it to become a proper clinical vaccine. And the final phase is millions of people doing it. So before it can actually be classed as, but even within 10 years of that, you do not know the consequences of that vaccine. So is it worthwhile getting it?
This is what, if I liken it to the medication that I take for my liver, when I first started taking the medication I was given, I had an adverse reaction to that. And at the time, there was no other medicine available for that condition. it's only 9 years later I've got a new medication and it's a 50-50 chance of it working. And you just think, well, I don't know what's in that medicine because it is a brand new medication. And it's like, okay, do you take it? Do you not take it? And exactly the same with the medicine, the vaccination for COVID, Would I? I don't think I
that's the thing, whether it's going to be mandatory.
I have no shame in saying that. Don't get the
and neither do I. At the end of the day, the thing is, at the end of the day, for me, and even obviously, I'm studying a lot of this stuff as well as part of my degree, and I know that that from a holistic point of view, because obviously I work like Christine here, works with her clients on a holistic and also on a practical side of things as well. We cannot dumb down the holistic and we cannot dumb down the practical, but also equally, you've got to see that some of the practical also has its flaws. So some of it is guesswork as well. And it has to be guesswork to begin with, because obviously, if it wasn't guesswork to begin with, you wouldn't have the hypotheses to begin with before they can actually do scientific testing. So if they make it mandatory that you have to have a vaccine, I would not be taking it. And that is just purely because I just truly believe and can see that certain freedoms are being taken away from people, and people don't know what to do when their freedoms are being taken away, and then they wonder why they are so anxious and depressed and fearful, because their inner self, their actual self, is trying to do something completely different and trying to show them how they can actually heal themselves, how they can look after themselves, and whether through healing themselves that's taking a traditional medicine. I know my healing when I first had a postnatal psychosis, which would have been possibly some kind of spiritual stuff going on for me. That's what I believe anyway. That I had that voice, call the doctor, because that was my inner self telling me or let's just put it in layman's terms, intuition, gut instinct, whatever you want to call it. That's what we truly, we do believe in intuition and gut instinct. I had one to call the doctor.
Yeah.
And not to be ashamed of going on antidepressants for that period of time. And that was okay. And the thing is, sometimes there's stigma and we feel like it's not okay to make those choices once that inner being says something.
I mean, I've been on antidepressants for years and years and years, and they become dependent on them, not in a addictive way, but they're fearing what happens if they stop taking them.
Yeah, and I know people who stopped, and
they don't realise that if they can correct it in here, that it's here that's where the key lies. But
absolutely.
I learned that one, but I was on some really, really nasty little packers that they gave me. That if I forgot to take it one day, the following day I was completely mentally useless. I couldn't function. And it had to be another 24 hours of taking the pill to get back to a level of functionality. And I thought, what's the point of taking these things? What are they doing? And people are on these for years, and you think, why? Because no one's actually said to them, you shouldn't be taking these for more than a few months. They just keep doling them out to them because they just want them to get back into the world of work, into the normal functionality of society and into the system, and keep doing their contribution bit. Regardless of how they're actually feeling, of what their state of health is. That's not the consideration. The consideration is getting you back to where they need you. And
because it does dumb down.
Keep doing it. And I think, the consideration for people's health is, it's not even taken, I don't think. The consideration is just getting you back where they want you. That's it.
Just absolutely. That's all it is. It's a sticky plaster, and they're not getting to the root of the cause.
Exactly. Because I mean, when I took mine, it was almost like I'm only going to take it for such a period of time. I came off it, and I still wasn't right, so I went back on it again, and then just came off it. I know for a lot of other people, it's been on it for a long time. And it's just learning, like if you're on them, it's okay, right? It's okay. Because I think that's what a lot of people don't believe sometimes, that they kind of believe, well, it's not okay because I'm on these, and it's okay. It's about what are your next steps that you're going to take to then move yourself forward from that position, because you can move forward from that position. I'm here, Leslie's here. Christine, did you take them as well? And Christine's here as well. We're all here to say that we've been on them, and we've broken, we've got through and we've broken, as Christine would say, we hacked it, and we got through that, we got through that habit.
I think,
it's
educating. I think,
mm-hmm, absolutely.
The white coat syndrome is, you believe everything.
It can be difficult to get through people and get past their conditioning of, I have to see the doctor to have something to take to make me better, because obviously it's come from outside. So therefore I must take something externally, instead of saying to them, actually, what's happened to you has come from inside. You've manifested it. Your healing is within you. You can manifest that. By all means, take a medication to help you heal, but your healing comes from inside, not from outside.
That's so true. I think a lot of people, though, they don't realise it when they're in certain situations. I mean, when I was going through psychosis, and I've had various periods of psychosis as well, you don't see it at the time. So it's good that you have your inner being, like, to go, right, okay, what you're doing now, can you just like go and ring someone, go and sort yourself out, because sometimes listening to your inner self, because I had all the noise switched off at that point, and it was really lucky, because every time I'm in a bad way, I don't turn up on social media. So when I'm in a bad way, I'm like, that's gone off. and I shut it down during that time. I still worked. I showed up to work even with going through psychosis, but shutting it down allowed, and I truly believe this, allowed my inner self to go, Trina, what you're doing, just about as I'm due to like kind of get my dressing gown cord and hang myself with it. It's like, go and ring someone, because sometimes you just don't know how to get out of those situations. You're like almost like trapped. And I'm so grateful that I did take the antidepressants in the end. I am grateful for that moment, because I do truly believe that certain periods of life teaches us something. If it wasn't for me being on those antidepressants, I would never have walked out of my job and told them all to F off and where to go. So there's this great stuff to be had from going through these moments of time, don't you think so? There's good stuff to be had, because if we always kind of think, well, that situation happened, and just completely keep beating yourself up and going, because we can only keep going round in circles, can't we?
That's where the growth is, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Hit rock bottom. There's two ways you can go. You either do the way that you described, or I tried, with the pills and the alcohol, or you actually go, do you know what? I use this pain to get myself better, and that's often, they often say suffer as serve. And that is because they understand and they know the pains of what other people are going through. And I got told, I have massive imposter syndrome still. I still suffer from imposter syndrome. And it's purely because, I don't have the type. I've been told, well, what makes you? Who do you think you are? Oh, this and this. And my friend, Maisie's dad actually, rent a dog, said, but Christine, if you like that, and people have said to me, but you've had 34 years of drinking, you know the pains, you know the boundaries, you know the barriers, but why? And he totally reframed it for me. He says, You're a practical psychologist. You're not a psychologist with a PhD. He says you are a practical. You've been through the pain.
You've got the experience. You've not just read it from a textbook and got a certificate for it. You've gone through the experience of it, and then you've been practicing and honing in on a skill to teach other people. And that's the thing, really, isn't it? You hone in on what you've been through, your experience, and then you take it forward and you build on what you've learned. And I think what you're doing, Christine, is so amazing. I think we all kind of suffer from imposter syndrome in some way, and just to know, even, I tell you what, the most amazing thing for anyone who's watching this, write a CV. Go and write yourself a CV, because when you write yourself a CV, you're then essentially writing something about yourself and saying exactly what you can do and how good you are at it. And I had the opportunity to write a CV the other week for a really, really big position, UK position. I didn't get it, but it was just so unique writing that CV and knowing just how good you are at the things that you do.
Mental. Leslie's gone.
Is she gone? Yeah. Oh no! I think her laptop went off. But it's been amazing chatting to you. I know we kind of ran over time quite a lot, but I think it really needed to, because obviously, a lot of stuff that's come out of this is obviously we went through the COVID stuff. We kind of touched on a load of things that we really kind of needed to speak about. We spoke about spirituality. We spoke about different things that are going on within. What would you say to people? Now, this is the question in terms of spirituality. What would you say to people who are scared because obviously you went through a really difficult time and difficult moments. What would you say to those people who are still scared now that something terrible might happen to them?
Wow. I think the best piece of advice I was given is learn how to protect yourself. And whether or not that's encasing yourself and proper visualizing, you popping yourself in a bubble, a bubble of love and healing. Just because you're in that bubble, it doesn't mean that you can't give out love and healing, but you're protecting yourself from any other energies, any negative energies, any dark energies, any sad energies attaching themselves to you. And I think a lot of it is about visualization. A lot of it is, research. So go into your local crystal shop or, and ask. That they're the best people to ask. I really feel that I maybe have that spiritual connection. I'm a little bit frightened about it. What can I do? I know that I'm going to be, once I feel okay to go into the spiritualist churches, I will start going to spiritualist churches and learning through that way as well. But I think just ask the questions, go to the relevant people, and be open to accept it and embrace yourself. That, we all have this gift. We all have ability, but we are.
And it's there in history as well. That's what I really want to kind of put out there. It's already there. It's already there in history.
Again, it's all, I could liken it to, it's within our culture, within our society. It's dumbed down. See you later. It is. It's dumbed down, and we're not allowed to speak about it because we're seen as cuckoo, lulu, la la, or woo woo.
Yeah. Even though it is your nature, it's inherent in you. And if you're using your intuition, that's your spiritual self, you know, if you're going on your gut instinct, that's your spiritual you. We can put it into, you know, we can put it into physical terms, we can put it into scientific terms as well. You know, your gut instinct, you know, because obviously your gut instinct has many nerves within it. So yeah, it doesn't have to be, I don't think it needs to be dumbed down anymore.
It's been a lot more accepted. People are accepting it a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's due to, you know, a lot more people are into things like the stars, the moon, all things like, so there's so many aspects and different realms of it, that there's so many facets that you can dip into and dip out. Well, I thought I'd look
absolutely.
Sorry for that, ladies. My battery went flat. I do apologise.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
So I think, you know, there's different facets that you can dip into. You know, even yoga practices, it's a spiritual practice. Meditation is a spiritual practice.
Yeah, mindfulness as well.
Spiritual practices, and yet these are also seen to be, I would say, keywords, buzzwords. You know,
yeah.
Mindfulness, I do yoga, I do meditation. That's fine, but are you doing it properly? Are you doing it properly because there's a technique to it, and there's, you know, and again, I'm not sat here going, I'm a guru in this. I am still learning. I am still learning how to meditate, even though I've meditated for probably over a year properly now. But there's still times where I'll lay there trying to clear the mind, empty the mind, and I've just got a whole bloody show with it. Rather than getting angry and frustrated with that, I go, okay, I'm not ready to clear this shit. I'll embrace this. I won't get angry with it, because the worst thing is to get angry, frustrated, and so I'll just lay there and I'll just go, right, okay, I'll acknowledge that I'm clearly not going to be in a proper meditation. Do that, and I still feel calmer after doing that.
Absolutely.
Going, oh my God, I'm trying to do this. I ain't got time for this shit. I need to meditate. It's fine. And I think that's the thing. Lose the anger. The anger is one of the worst things in the world to have carrying around with you. You know, it's just, and I looked a lot of my anger through the art of forgiveness of self. A lot of it was self-forgiveness, self-love, self-worth, learning all those attributes. And you do that, you then carry a whole world of love with you. And again, I speak like this to my friends, and they go, oh, she's batshit crazy, she's gone on another dimension now, you know. And I go, hey, but who's the one that's happy? Who's the one that's smiling? Who's the one that's gone through all that shit? I'm still here and I'm smiling. You're the people who are going, oh, life's boring. This is this is that. Come and join me in my bubble, you know.
It's so nice to be in a bubble as well. That's the thing.
Do you find, though, as you change your outlook, you know, go through that self-forgiveness and self-love, and I know exactly where you're coming from on that as well. And I've noticed it more in the last year, that as your vibrations and your frequencies lift and change, then those people that won't come with you just drop away. You tend to attract then more of the people that are on your level, that think like you do, that will say, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. They start to become more abundant in your circle, and the others they melt away back into their, you know, land of misery, and you're happy.
Like I said, surround yourself with the people whose lifestyle, whose life, whose, you know, the way you see your life in the future. Surround yourself with people like that, because that's where growth is as well. You know, the abundance mindset. Throughout all my I didn't even mention this, but throughout all my pains, starting from the ex-husband, I massively was into the law of attraction. My go-to book was The Secret. And I used to say, that is my Bible. I used to read it, page it. I gave it to my husband to read. So look, this is what you need to read. I did a stint last year in the TV sector. When I worked in the TV, I got a job as a buyer for a BBC Two comedy. And at the end of that production, all the gifts that I gave to my art department team was The Secret. It was the book The Secret, Learn the Art of Law of Attraction. But not just learn it, you have to feel it, you have to nurture it, you have to grow it. And you can't just think, well, I want this. It's not going to work. You have background in, you have to work with it behind the scenes as well. And, this book changed my life, and I've got all of Rhonda's book now. I've got the, I've forgotten them all now. That's the mindset just gone. I've got all of Rhonda Byrne's books, and I was in a group, a membership group last year, and I said at the beginning of this membership that I was on, I was like, right, I am going to win the main award. I'm going to win the main award within this community for growth and for entrepreneurs. And I put that out to the universe in the March. I went away to Bali and I put that out to the universe. And I always said, I'll meet somebody from The Secret. My law of attraction will mean that I meet these people.
Yeah.
So swiftly move on to December of last year. I won that award. I won that main award. I also won another award, which was presented to me, and the award was sponsored by Bob Doyle from The Secret. So he presented me that award, but the main award was also presented by Bob Doyle. And I'm like, well, there you go. Because I put that out to the universe, it's like, I'm going to meet someone from The Secret. I'm going to win that award. And this is when I say...
And it happens.
And it happens, but you have to believe it. You really have to believe it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
About surrendering.
Absolutely.
This year I picked up the book Zero Limits by Joe Vitale, who was also in The Secret, the film. I lent it to Trina. There, she's got it. And I would say I read it within 48 hours and experienced a complete paradigm shift. And I've never looked back. And I've gone on to read his other book, which is Beyond Zero, which goes further, more advanced. And it's just completely changed here. Absolutely. And it was like the clouds just parting and that ray of sun coming right down to you. And it made so much more sense. And as a result of that, I'm starting to pick up people that I never knew before. There's suddenly, I'm getting friend requests on Facebook, right? Something like about a dozen a week.
Wow.
And I accept every single one of them because I check them, but they're all people that are coming from within the same area and circle. And I'm thinking, this is weird. This is really weird.
But it's not.
I'm putting it down because what I'm now putting up there is so different from what was going up there earlier this year, and everything has just turned completely around. So I still have wobbly days. I still have days when I sit there thinking, why am I here? But everything has just gone on its head. But it's lovely. I love it.
and that's the amazing thing about all of it. Christine, tell us where we can find you. Tell us your links and everything.
Okay, I am on Facebook. So we have a Facebook group and it's called @Habitbreaker 2019. And that's the same for Instagram. So it's @Habitbreaker 2019. You can find me on LinkedIn. That's just Christine Wright. Twitter is @breaker_habit. And the website's currently being done now, so you'll have to go into those kind of areas to see the website. So I am literally doing the website this week. That is this week's job.
I love it. So I just really want to thank you for being here, and what you're doing is amazing. I want to thank you, and I'll pop everyone who's watched this, I'll pop the links above so you can find Christine. because she is definitely worth following for sure, for sure. So I will be back next week. I've got the fabulous Sarah Stones with me, who's plain sailing motivation. So about your motivation, how do you keep going? Sometimes your motivation changes as well. So it's going to be very, very, very amazing speaking to her. After that, we have unblocking your limiting beliefs with Jasvinder. And then I'm going to take a break after that. But I just want to thank you, everyone, for watching this today. We've spoken about loads of stuff.